Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video on the Super Duper Football Show. This time I'm coming back at you with top 3 Week 5 fantasy performances. Starting off at the quarterback position, we have Justin Herbert, who put up a whopping 42.82 fantasy points. I think that's the first 40-point performance since Patrick Mahomes last year, uh, in last season. This game was a shootout between the Chargers and the Browns, 47-42 in favor of Los Angeles. And at number 2, we had Lamar Jackson go off on Monday Night Football, 41.88 fantasy points. Huge production from him. And we had Tom Brady at number 3 with 37.74 fantasy points. Austin Eckler was the best fantasy running back in PPR in Week 5, and he eclipsed 32 fantasy points with 32.9, just short of 33. And tied at second place, we had Myles Gaskin for the Dolphins and Jonathan Taylor of the Colts, both with 31.9 fantasy points. Taylor, of course, getting this on Monday Night Football. And most of that came from that 70-yard screen touchdown in the first quarter. And at number 4, we had Derrick Henry. 4 because two players at number 2 makes third place fourth place. Derrick Henry of the Titans with 31 fantasy points. King Henry still continuing to show that he's one of the best in the league. Devontae Adams had 37.6 fantasy points against Cincinnati in Week 5. And the kicking woes in that game were just unbeatable. It was just contagious across the league. Mike Williams for the Chargers still continued to show that he's elite on the he's just an elite part of the Chargers offense. Again, rising to the occasion and putting up 36.5 points. And Hollywood Brown had 33.5 fantasy points on Monday night. And Mark Andrews had 41.7 fantasy points. That is absolutely ridiculous. Because if you think about it, your tight end had 42, let's say 42, and your wide receiver had what? Yeah, 33 and a half. 42 and 33 and a half. You had, 41.7, 33 and a half. That is 75.2, I think, yeah. 75.2 combined fantasy points from 2 of your receivers. That is something to be proud of, That's awesome. David Njoku put up 27.9, almost 28 fantasy points. That's a surprise, in my opinion. Even with Nick Chubb getting so many points, and Kareem Hunt. And Kyle Pitts in London, Sunday morning, put up 26.9 fantasy points facing off against that Jets defense. And for the fantasy kickers, we do have... wow, I'm just realizing this picture and this picture look awfully similar. Anyway, tied at first, Nick Folk of the Patriots and Greg Joseph of the Vikings both put up 17 fantasy points for their respective teams. Greg Zerline of the Cowboys had 14 fantasy points. I think we could be happy with that. And Mason Crosby missed so many kicks against the Bengals that he still was able to put up 13 fantasy points. He was just so bad that he was incredible, in fantasy at least, because he got so many field goal opportunities. I'm pretty sure he got, 7 or 8 field goal attempts. That's a little bit unreal, but he only ended up putting 13. And that is the Buffalo Bills at number 1 with 17 fantasy points. Once again, repeating their, solidifying their state as one of the best defenses in the league. Repeating from Week 4 as the best fantasy defense, in fact. Not quite 23 fantasy points, but still 17. Very, very solid. Tennessee Titans even had 13 fantasy points, surprisingly, I think. It was the Jaguars, but given that they didn't do well against the Jets, I thought they would do about the same with the Jaguars, but they did end up putting up 13. And the Dallas Cowboys, who have proven to be solid. Trayvon Diggs for Defensive Player of the Year, perhaps. And they put up 11 fantasy points. And that'll do it for week 5, guys. Uh, please leave a like if you enjoy the video. Subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. We're continuing to churn out these videos for you guys, and it would really help and encourage us if you would subscribe or leave a like or both. Just take that 1 second. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in week 6.